did not know before now, they will have the opportunity to know them today, especially about the challenges. You know, people look at only the strengths. Nobody wants to look at the challenges that probably people in public office face. So at least when they interact directly, without any hindrance, without any encumbrance, then definitely they'll be hearing from the horse mouth this time around, the governor, the #1 citizen on the plateau.
You know, someone asked me yesterday about one of the government agencies, the Medical and Drug Commodities, Management Agency, where one of us pharmacists came. What? Actually, the Jerry Bot is there. You know, I told him, if you have questions, you can be at the town hall. Incidentally, it's someone who's invited here, and he'll be here. He asked of roads. I said the Ministry of Works will be here. They asked about healthcare facilities in the state. He said the Ministry of Health will be here. They asked of how engaging government is with the people. We said the Ministry of Information and Communication will be here. Okay, what are the local governments doing across? What are they getting? What is there in terms of autonomy? And we said the local governments will be here. So everybody will be here today. It will be a great thing to watch and listen.
In fact, Kenzin, I remember somebody telling me about an altercation about land issue somewhere, and I told him, don't worry, just come to the town hall. The commissioner for land will be here, and we're happy that he's also here, and other commissioners are also here. We recognize all the presence. It's telling you the caliber of people that are here, the magnitude of the occasion itself, the strength of character of the personalities that are here. And that's just an indication that even those that are not here will actually learn more about Plateau States. And the winner in this whole program will be Plateau States.
Plateau will indeed be the winner today, because we will all go out expectantly smiling and feeling the togetherness of a state like this. Our heroes who sacrificed for June 12th, being led by the late MK Abiola, whom we earlier on heard during the president's broadcast this morning. A lot of encomium being said on MK Abiola and his wife Kudirat, alongside other people who fought for what we are benefiting or enjoying today. That despite the challenges we're going through as a country today, and even as a state, we believe that from one angle of this hall, there could be that ingredient that will turn around the fortunes for better.
In fact, I will say that the history of democracy can never be told in Nigeria without adequate emphasis on June 12th election. Because that was when we had the direct primary. It was an option A4 primary that we had in this country. That was when we banished religious bigotry, we banished tribal inclination, and we saw every Nigerian coming to vote for someone from the southwestern part of the country that even won in Kano State. So it's instructive and imperative that indeed a day like this is set aside as our democracy day, and we thank God that some of the heroes of the June 12th, some of them are here. The other day, there was a book launch in Lagos State where a compendium was launched, and the names of the heroes of June 12th were well written in that compendium, and it's interesting to note that I saw the name Steve Aluku, and he's also here and is among the panelists. So we could say and tell anybody that indeed we're also part of the June 12th struggle. If you fast forward to the G34, that also transmogrified into the PDP, we also talk about the likes of Baba, Jonah Jan, Baba Solomon Rao, and so many other people from Plateau States that held the military by its jugular to ensure that the democracy we're enjoying today continue to thrive, continue to flourish, continue to blossom. As such as we are celebrating June 12 today, let's not forget the June 12 heroes, and we have some of them on the plateau. Dr. Jonah Jan is one of them. Rachel Moral is one of them. We have Aluko Steve, who is also here with us, live and direct. And the interesting thing about this town hall, Kensington, is there are so many people that people listen to them on radio, but this is an opportunity for them to be seen, because you know the radio is a blind medium.
That's very well. You know, I started turning around to look at Dr. Gad Shamaki, to turn to look at Ukan Diode, to turn to look at Barrister Arunaudu, to turn to look at our veteran, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, who is here also. Turn to look at Pedro. Turn to look at the director of the National Orientation Agency. Turn to look at the general manager of PLATEAU, such wonderful and sweet voice that we used to love and admire. The wonderful Ayuku Fosco, the Steve, the wonderful Samson Omale. These are voices that are here. The Mary Runs, the Anna Paul Gingris. I'm trying to look at so many of them, and the fantastic writers to the voice, Valentine, that they say. You know, some people who will write and raise dust in the ocean. Alex, you are, you know, all of these kind of people. I can see the names, the light is so much. Agabus, so many of you. We acknowledge you and appreciate all of you. We commence this event. You are not allowed to move around. If it is absolutely necessary, then you can move out quietly. But let me not forget the NLC chairman, the TUC chairman, the chairman of the Joint Public Negotiating Council who are here, and all other unions that are here. Honestly, we want to thank you so much for being here. Earlier on, they said the President General of Igbo Community is here. We want to believe others are also here. The Traditional Council, we earlier said, is represented here. And then every other stakeholder. Once again, we send our appreciations to you at this moment. I also saw on the speaker's entourage is Honorable Eli Banko Ankara, member representing Rokuba Iribe constituency in the State House of Assembly, who came alongside Right Honorable Manlong Daniel Gapiu, who is the Speaker of the State Assembly. So we have everyone seated and ready for the conversation in a moment.
And of course, talking about the heroes of democracy, the Muslims in the society. Because what is democracy without good governance? And what is good governance without participation? Participation is the first principle of good governance, and there is no how decisions can be made without participation. There is no how decisions can be reached without engaging directly with the people. And that is the essence of this particular program today. I will also recognize the presence of the NUJ chairperson, Mrs. Ayuku Pasco,
into the hall. So in the course of this program, you will have that opportunity, please. So bear with us. But the most important thing here is to make sure you are comfortable and you have the opportunity to hear from great minds. You have the opportunity to hear from His Excellency the Governor, who will deliver the keynote here today. And his keynote will spark conversations that will stir issues to issues that will bring solutions, to solutions that will bring development.
Of course. And let me also inform everyone that is here that you can join us live on Facebook, you can stream on YouTube by searching for Inside PLATEAU. Inside PLATEAU. You can stream from any parts of this country. And indeed, we are also live on about stations. And we have various TV stations here. We have online media that are also covering this particular program. So I assure you that the entire state is here. You can also join via Zoom. And you can also send messages, voice notes to us. Once you have a question, we'll be giving you a dedicated number. You can send us a voice note through that number. You can tell us where exactly you are listening to us from or streaming from. You tell us the name and you go straight with your question. We crave the indulgence of everyone that is here that democracy is also about civility. So please, whichever question we're having, let's apply decorum. Let's be very, very mature. Let's be civil about it so that we can get the most germane answer to our questions. So that is just a way of telling us that indeed we're here to promote good governance. We're here to ensure inclusivity and participation. But we must do that in a very, very civil and mature way. I recognize the presence of all the traditional leaders that are here. They are well seated in their regalia. We recognize the presence of all the various ethnic groups on the plateau that are here also to listen directly to the governor without any hindrance, without third party, without any encumbrance. And that is exactly the essence of this particular engagement. Democracy Day 2026, to promote unity, to promote participation, to promote inclusivity. I will talk about June 12th. That's a day that we can never forget in Nigeria, because that's the day that democracy was enhanced, and we were able to also ensure that we forget about our language, our tribe, our religion, our creed. All we went for was good governance on June 12, 1992. And the hero of that election, Chief M.K. Abiola, had to sacrifice his life for this democracy we're enjoying. So that's why we don't want any bastardization of democracy, because somebody sacrificed his life, and he was not the only one that sacrificed his life. So many other people also sacrificed their lives for this democracy we are enjoying today. Once the governor enters the hall, I'll pray in the Chief Gani Fawahimi of blessed memory. How Kudurat Abiola that also sacrificed her own life. That's right. June 4, 1996 was the date around the Oba area of Lagos, going to Ikeja, that her life was cut short by the goons of the military. That's right, Bello. Thank you so much for the education and reminder for some of us and so many people who needed to. We're now about this moment being joined by different radio and television stations who have joined the conversation today, who have joined this moment where the Democracy Day Town Hall meeting commences with a theme, Plateau State Beyond Elections. Be part of the Hash 2027 conversations. This is where the moment is. It's holding here at the Crispin Hotel, Rayfield Road, here in Jos. All those people are listening to us on various radio stations. There are other channels, as Bello Lukman has said. All of these are avenues for us to be part of the conversation today. It's Democracy Day, and it has come to stay. It has come to bless our people with what we should gain from democracy. We are growing as a country. We will continue to grow as a country. Earlier on, Bello said, once His Excellency steps in, we will take the national anthem, which is the first stanza, and then we'll have the opening prayer, which is also on the same booklet, the inside front cover. It is there. That is the third stanza that is there, will be our opening prayer. So please, I believe that we can work with that. And in the course of this, Bello has reminded us that
But if you are calling from outside this hall, you will need to tell us your name, where you're calling from, what station you're listening to it on, and then straight to ask your questions. Now I'm sending this to those who are listening on radio and those who are watching on television now. Once you call, you will only have a minute, just 1 minute. And when you begin to say thank you, organizers, thank you, this and thank you that, your 1 minute would have been gone by then. So if you're listening to us on any of the radio partners outside, or you're watching us on television, or on any other social media platform, please remember that you will not have the luxury of time to be able to exchange pleasantries and extend pleasantries to people. You will only have the time to deliver your question. If you're within the hall here, you want to have a conversation with His Excellency the Governor or any of the government appointees here, you may have a question for the directly it is, you will have just that moment so that we can all work with the time that we have. It is the only time that we have to use at this moment. So we'd like to thank you for your understanding for now. Bello, looks as if we are set already? Yes. We're set for it for the commencement, please. Once again, we welcome each and every one of us to the #2027 conversations, the town hall holding here in Plateau State. Beyond elections, Plateau State. Where do we tend to see? Well, sometimes beyond elections, some people feel they have other things other than other things.
Because election is not an end, it's a means to an end. Okay. And some people think democracy ends only on election day. But that's just the beginning, because immediately after the election, government starts. And government, is the framework and the templates that actually guarantees another term. And that is part of why we are here, to ensure that we ensure participation and inclusivity. But I'm sure the reason why the government decided to organize in conjunction with Samson Omalo and Radio 93.7 FM, this program, to ensure that all views are actually taken.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, can we all rise, please? Can we all be on our feet? In absolute silence in the hall as we commence this entire conversation. #2027 conversation. We welcome His Excellency Governor Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang to this event. We will remain standing as we will commence in a moment. So we welcome you, Your Excellency, and thank you so much for being here this day. On behalf of everyone who is here, we welcome you. Can we have the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Remain standing to take the opening prayer, which is the third stanza. O God of creation, after 2, let's take 1, 2, let's take. O God of all creation, grant these our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen. Please, you may be seated. Your Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, may I quickly ask all the photographers and cameramen to excuse us at this moment. You must have established your shots at this moment. Please, can you all give space? All photographers, can you give space, please? Do that quickly. Can you give space, please? Your Excellency, our dear Governor, Mr. Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, may I seek your permission to just establish a very short protocol. Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Plateau State, and God Josephine Pio, the Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Daniel Nanlongapio, the Secretary to the Government of the State, Architect Samuel Manchamjato, the Chief of Staff, Government House Builder Jeremiah Sadmak, the Head of Civil Service Plateau State, Mr. Stephen Pambadon, the Commissioner Ministry of Information and Communication, Right Honorable Joyce Wanmap, MNI, and other members of the Plateau State Executive Council here present, the convener, Mr. Samson O'Malley of the Verified Conversation and partners. Our team of panelists who are here, Executive Chairman of Local Government Councils, the Chairman Plateau State Council of Chiefs and Emirs, the Bongbong just ably represented by the Sumpian, His Royal Highness Charles Matthew Dakat, Special Advisors, Chairman and members of commissions, the NUJ Chairman Plateau State, heads of media houses and other media professional bodies here present, permanent secretaries, directors general, chief executives of government boards and power staters, members of the civil society organizations here present, PDAN, and other representatives of development associations, community leaders, distinguished invited guests, professional bodies, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome each and every one of us to this event, Democracy Day Town Hall meeting. It is themed Plateau State Beyond Elections. Use the hashtag #2027 conversations to be part of this event. Right now, you're watching us on different television stations and listening to us on various radio stations. There are other social media platforms that this program is being beamed and streamed live for Nigerians within and outside the country to also be part of this. In the course of this event, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, those of you watching from television stations and those of you listening on radio stations and also being part of social media handles will be able to be part of the conversation today. I welcome each and every one of us once again to this very important occasion. Since it is limited time we have, because we are on air, Your Excellencies, may I invite my Mr. Bello Lukman, or rather Ambassador Bello Lukman, to give us an overview of today as we set into the program. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much, Councilman Gupta. As you are all aware, this is Verified Conversation, and it's also an Inside Plateau Conversations convened by my boss, as stated by 93.7 FM, Samson O'Malley. And we are all aware that democracy thrives when citizens are actively involved. And that is the essence of this program. The program is meant to ensure there is participation, there is inclusivity, there is also the promotion of unity, harmony, tranquility, and understanding on the plateau, because when you look around you, you discover that we have the diverse ethnic groups in Nigeria in this hall. So the main aim of this program is to ensure participation, which is the most important ingredient of good governance. And instructively and interestingly, the government itself is here. There is no any encumbrance. Let's ensure stability whenever we are actually talking. And we are also having a dedicated phone lines for everyone that wants to participate. And for those of us that are listening to us outside Plateau, because about 10 to 15 radio stations, this particular program is going live on them. So this is the number, if you wish to call, please, 080-6464-1536. I will repeat the number 2 more times, 080-6464-1536. If you are calling from outside Plateau, you can as well drop a voice note or voice message if you cannot get us direct. Just tell us on which radio station you are listening to us from, tell us your name, and please go ahead with your question. And part of the elements of good governance is civility. So please, we crave the indulgence of all our participants, whether from the hall or even outside the hall, whichever question, whichever gray area we want light to be shed on. Please let's apply decorum. Let's be very, very civil about it. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for a welcome remarks to this very important occasion at this moment is to invite the convener, Samson Omale, of Verified Conversations and Inside Plateau. Put your hands together for Mr. Samson Omale, please.
Thank you very much, Kenzie. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, the Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Ngo Josephine PLATEAU. I would just like to recognize also the Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly, the Secretary to the Government of the State, the Chief of Staff, and virtually every other person present from the government side. Please, for want of time, I'll just keep the rest of the protocol. I'd like to say you are very much recognized this afternoon. I'm absolutely delighted, I must say this, that dreams that you have will come through in ways and manners that you never expect. And for me, in the last 25 years as a multimedia broadcast journalist, I've been very passionate about the fact that our country can be better. And it can be better if you don't have great leaders and leaders that are accountable. And it's on that basis that in 2021, we had the first edition of the hashtag 2023 conversations. For those of you who followed, you recall that we had something very similar, but in a very moderate and measured way. And that was leading to the 2023 general elections. And what happened? We tried to interrogate who were going to be the next leaders of the states by asking ordinary people, as it were, to come over and tell the world for Plateau to be better, what kind of leaders would they want? And we had that fantastic discussion. And I must say that I'm absolutely grateful to the governor of Plateau State. I remember that my 3 encounters with you have basically been in interrogating you. And I remember that before you became the governor of the state, you, alongside the APC national chairman today, Patrick Dakum, who were the frontline candidates then, we had the opportunity to sit at the same table to have this conversation. And shortly after that also, you were gracious enough to also open up and be vulnerable for us to also interrogate you on my radio show. And I'd say I'm absolutely grateful for those opportunities. You're a leader who wants to be accountable, and today is moving the notch a step higher. This is Democracy Day, June 12th, and Verified Conversations, where I provide some bit of leadership alongside my friends at Inside Plateau, teamed up with the Plateau State Ministry of Information and Communication, who literally provided every platform and support to make this day what it is today. And ma'am, I'd like to thank you for all your efforts. You are amiable, and I respect all the efforts you put in to ensure that this day comes through. Thank you very much. You call me in the middle of the night, in the morning, to find out how we're going, and we're grateful for that. Just a few thoughts for us. That in representative democracies, the ultimate power rests with the citizens who delegate authority to electoral officials to act in their best interest. And historically in Nigeria, citizens' participation is heavily backed, I must say, and of course it is backloaded. What do I mean by that? They primarily don't have an opportunity where we see citizens engage, discuss with their leaders. And building on the fact that we can change that narrative is the concept behind Verified Conversations, and of course by extension hashtag 2027 conversation. We are barely on the eve of the election, and may I just quickly say that today's conversation is not about politics. I like to emphasize, it's not about politics. We're not here to talk politics. We're not here to talk political parties. We're not here to talk primaries. We're not here to talk anything of such. For me, it's about how do we have our leaders, ask them questions and then answer where there are, gray areas in terms of leadership and in terms of governance. And that's exactly why we're here. And I just want to appeal to us that I'm not a politician. I'm not sure I want to be a politician. I enjoy being a journalist, and I'll stay as a journalist. So please, for this conversation today, we'd like to take a last-minute rush by initiating structured citizen-led political dialogue a full year ahead of the primary election circles. And this is also to facilitate direct accountability, which is very important to us, create an interactive face-to-face communication channel between, of course, different communities here. Your Excellency, I like to say that this is the biggest platform ever in Plateau State, and I'd like to tell you why. As we speak right now, we are on 15 radio stations. We're live on 15 radio stations, and the Honorable Commissioner will tell you more about that. We're also live in different parts of Nigeria, where we've also had some interest. So, I mean, you have the platform, sir, to speak to millions of Plateau people, not just here and all that. But yes, it's about you because we like to interrogate you, sir, and I hope that you will not feel uncomfortable when we start asking the uncomfortable questions. Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to also say that we'd like to amplify grassroots connection and meeting, and of course to be able to design a platform to highly make conversation, participation, engagement, and citizen action a reality. As I conclude, I'd like to say that this is just the beginning of a series of events to come. Today, I'm glad to say that we're launching one of the biggest platforms in Nigeria. Absolutely, because we're sure that from this point, we will make this an avenue that not just only government will take advantage of, but of course citizens will have a connection where they'll be able to come and can talk about our country and make it a better place. On behalf of my entire team and of course those who have put this together, I'd like to say once again, thank you very much to the Ministry of Information and Communication, the Right Honorable George Ramnap MNI, for the effort and for understanding our vision. And I also like to say thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's been a delight anytime you believe that yes, you can associate and make yourself available to what we do. On that note, I'd like to welcome you to the Democracy Day #2027 conversation. I will pray that our conversation here will be one that will engender cohesiveness, inclusiveness, and understanding. Thank you very much and enjoy a beautiful time in this conversation. You are very much welcome.
Thank you very, very much. The convener, Stanton Amaro, is so intelligent that they had to name him twice. Thank you so much. Without waste of time, permit me to call on our mother, the ever-enigmatic, ebullient, the ever-intelligent, and erudite Commissioner for Information, Right Honorable Joyce Ramnap, MNI.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Speaker, the Secretary to the State Government, distinguished leaders here present, please, you will permit me for want of time to stand on the protocol that has already been established here today. So I want to begin by congratulating us as a people on the Plateau, the citizens of Plateau State, for the celebration of yet another Democracy Day in Nigeria. This journey has not come without its own challenges. But the reason why we will stand to celebrate today is, against all odds, we are here standing and we're delivering the dividends of democracy to our people in Plateau State. So it is for us as a ministry a reason for us to celebrate yet another Democracy Day. You will recall, sir, about the same time last year, the Ministry of Information pulled together the journalists on the Plateau. We went out on a media tour for a sighting of all the projects that we have been undertaking on the Plateau. After which we also had a scorecard analysis of our performances of the various MDAs. We did that in the bid to show the much that we have been able to do as a government. Now, fast forward to today, there was a need for us to take a new perspective. And when Verified Conversation approached us with this idea, we felt it was a good idea for us to build on, for obvious reasons. One, we do not have a control of who is in this hall today. We allowed the private sector to drive the process of bringing in those people who need to know what we're doing as a government in Plateau State. And so we allow them to bring in the people and to ensure that they get to know what their concerns are and the areas of concern for them. So you will note that the stations, we have a lot of stations that are plugged in here today. Every radio station on the plateau is streaming live for this event as we are taking it. We also have a list of other supporting stations that are also giving us support. New Central offered to do same to us and they're streaming live. We have FRCN, of course, PLT, we are live on PLTV, and then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, the 10 radio stations that we have. Mainland FM, Lagos is also streaming. We have Rhythm 94.7 Abuja, and Wish FM Port Harcourt, Melody FM Ibadan. So, sir, at some point in time, if time permits us, there will be rapid fire questions that will be thrown, but all is in the bid to know the much that in these 3 years we've been able to achieve. But you will permit me also to thank Mr. Governor, to thank him for choosing the path of transparency in leadership, a path of accountability in leadership. And we appreciate that. We appreciate that. What we are seeing here today is democracy, the fundamentals of democracy being exhibited by the state government. We're exemplifying these fundamentals by having you all present in this hall today. Today, those who want to know and participate in the process of governance, this will be the opportunity for you to participate in governance. And every answer here today will be our sense of accountability, of leadership, and transparency in governance. In conclusion, let me thank everyone who has taken out time to be here today, the citizens of Plateau State, and most especially members of my own constituency, the 4th Estate of the Ren, for this significant journey in supporting this government of Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang. You have not only supported the government, but you have played a part of charting the agenda, of designing the agenda for development for us as a state. Where we don't get it right, you raise some questions, and we try to do that. Being that we are a listening government, and this, I must say, is something that has put us in check and on track. So I truly appreciate your presence under the leadership of our own sister, Ayuku Pwasko. Thank you, all the supporting team. We thank very specially our moderator who came all the way from Lagos, Mr. Ezenta Ezenwa Nwagu. We are glad to have you on the plateau today. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this time and the interaction that we'll be having here. I wish us all a very pleasant, engaging session and safe landing to Mr. Governor and those who will be joining us all through this conversation. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much. Once again, a round of applause for Right Honorable Joyce Rama, MNI, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Communication, Plateau State. The theme for the next speaker is strengthening democracy through inclusive governance and citizen participation. I am sure that we will want to listen to it. It will come in a moment from none other than the #1 citizen of Plateau State, who moved straight into this hall to engage the good people of Nigeria, because this is more than Plateau State. This is indeed Nigeria. Can we please rise as we welcome His Excellency, our dear Governor, Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, Governor of Plateau State, as he delivers the keynote to this Town Hall Meeting Hash 2027 conversations. His Excellency, the time is now. We are ready to listen.
Just keep it. Please be seated. Please be seated. Thank you. Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Ngo Josephine Pio, the Speaker, Plateau State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Daniel Nanlong, the Secretary to the Government of the State, Architect Samuel Nanchan Jato, the Chief of Staff, Government House, Builder Jeremiah Sadmak, the Head of Civil Service of the State, Mr. Steve. Of the verified conversation, Mr. Samson O'Malley, our team of panelists, Executive Chairman of Local Government Councils, the Chairman, Plateau State Council of Chiefs and Emirs, the Bongom Jaws, ably represented by His Royal Highness, the Sumfiam, the Charles Mato, special advisors, chairmen and members of commissions, the NUJ chairperson, Plateau State, heads of media houses and other media professional bodies here present, permanent secretaries, directors general, chief executives of government boards and parastatals, members of the civil society organizations here present, representatives of PDAN, community leaders, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. This, for me, is a very auspicious occasion, and I'm delighted to be here to be able to give this keynote address. Today we celebrate Democracy Day. It's a day that we sometimes take for granted because in many respects, democracy has not yet fully yielded the dividends we crave for. But let me say this, is when you lose a thing that you value it the most. And with all the shortcomings that democracy has delivered in terms of governance, I want you to know that, like one of our leaders said some years ago, that the worst democratic government is better than a military government. The younger generation may not agree because you don't have the benefit of history. If it were not for democracy, people like me will not be standing on this platform. I am a beneficiary of democracy. It was because of democracy that I could get elected at the time I did, when I knew nobody, when the odds were stacked against me, and the people of Plateau exercised their right of choice and brought me to this exalted seat as governor of Plateau State. I will never forget the vigil that young people kept at INEC office for my results to be declared. I cannot fail to remember the spontaneous outbreak of joy, dancing, market women, ordinary people, on the 12th of January 2024, when the Supreme Court of Nigeria finally affirmed my election. You would recall that that same process saw to the demise of 16 members duly elected in the House of Assembly, 5 members duly elected in the House of Representatives, and 2 distinguished senators, but I escaped like a bird from the trap of the snare. That is why I will always remain a firm believer in democracy. I will always remain a champion of democracy. It is democracy that guarantees choice. It is democracy that gives you room to be able to speak your mind without fear of being arrested or molested. It is democracy that has even given us the right to gather in this hall this afternoon to demand for accountability. I therefore think with all sense of responsibility that we ought to celebrate democracy there. It is this day, this kind of day, that gives me hope that one day, someday, people seated here will become local government chairmen, will become members of the House of Assembly. And who knows, maybe somebody is seated here that will one day become governor of Plateau State, especially the women. Like we say in Nigeria, that what God cannot do does not exist. I am evidence of that statement. I'm a validation of that statement, that what God cannot do does not exist. I want to therefore congratulate Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for this day. Congratulate all my colleagues across the 35 other states and the FCT. Congratulate all the members of the National Assembly and State Houses of Assembly. But more importantly, congratulate the Nigerian people. I believe that democracy should be sustained at all costs. And we can only hope that the challenges we have faced thus far, we can only make them better in the days to come. I therefore want to thank you again for this opportunity that since coming on board May 29, 2023, it is 3 good years now, running into the 4th year, that we have had the privilege, the honor to pilot the affairs of this great state, a state that has produced great leaders on both local and the international scene, and have done us very, very proud. I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to step into this office together with my loyal, dependable deputy, Her Excellency God Josephine Pio. Over the past 3 years, we have remained steadfast in our commitment to building a government anchored on transparency, accountability, compassion, integrity, responsible leadership. Through prudent management of resources and purposeful governance, we have worked diligently to restore confidence in public institutions and lay a solid foundation for sustainable development. When we assumed office in May 2023, the state faced significant economic and developmental challenges. Through deliberate policies and strategic interventions, we have revitalized critical sectors of the economy and prevented the decline that threatened our stability and growth as a state. The first matter we confronted upon assumption of office was the matter of security and peace building. You would recall that before our swearing in, the state was bedeviled by many severe security challenges, which resulted in significant loss of lives and property in Mangu, Bokos, Riom, Barkin-Ladi, and Bassa local government areas, apart from other attacks in the southern part of the state, particularly Wase and then. What did we do? 2 days thereafter, we convened a State Security Council meeting, and we followed this with personal visits to some of the IDP locations across the affected local government areas to assess their needs and to provide support. We immediately began conversations with the security agencies on ground to strengthen collaboration, build strategic relationships, and even went to Abuja to visit the security chiefs in order to give them a first-hand account of the issues. One of the things we realized was that the security situation on the plateau was not fully appreciated in Abuja, and therefore it was mischaracterized, and the needed response was not forthcoming. These visits proved very useful, and we were able to bring some calm in the immediate. We also looked again at the Operation Rainbow, the state security outfit, and over the course of time, we have trained over 2,000 youths and added those boots to the ground to support intelligence gathering and security surveillance in many communities, given the constraints of our resources. We want to thank God that Mr. President also graciously approved the recruitment of 1,000 forest guards for addition into our security architecture. I'm sorry that this process has taken a little bit longer than we thought it should, but I can assure you that we are bringing it to a close soon, and this will become operational. We try to provide an atmosphere of citizen engagement, particularly for communication in times of distress. So we established toll-free lines and for people to report suspicious activities. I'm glad that a number of kidnap incidents, particularly within the city and its surrounding environs have proved, these free toll lines have proved very useful, and on many occasions, those kidnap attempts have been thwarted. In addition to this, we have also engaged particularly the police apparatus, the leadership of the Nigerian police force, and they have added more presence for us here on the plateau. Apart from the two Mopol squadrons we had earlier, we've been able to attract 2 additional squadrons, one in Bassa, one in Barkin-Ladi. These have proved very useful. The one in Barkin-Ladi is in Gashish. Now, we keep improving, and just about a month ago, we also got approval and deployment of personnel to the forward operating base in Kadarko Wase. And as I'm talking to you, those MOPOL personnel have been deployed in Wase at the moment. We will keep improving the number of boots on ground, and also will continue to fine-tune our investments in technology. The security challenge is particularly troublesome because people only know what we failed to prevent. People hardly know what we prevented. But I'd like to salute the security agencies, most of them. We have reports, certainly, of bad eggs amongst them, but we cannot throw the baby and the bathwater. By and large, the security agencies, the security forces are doing a tremendous job. It is only when they are absent that we know their value. It is also when they fail to do their job, that's when we know their value. But those of us that supervise them, we know what they are doing, and I want to thank them for their sense of duty that has kept the state where it is today. Now let me quickly also say this, that at the root of the security challenges is what I call a deliberate, orchestrated plan to make sure that the people of Plateau State are kept in perpetual poverty. And as the chief marketer of the state, it has behoved on me over these last 3 years to find a good balance while not denying the challenges that our people face, some of whom have been killed, many of whom have been displaced. I know that if we do not grow a plateau economy, we will remain perpetual slaves forever. While economies are built through the sense of industry of the people, you must also attract outsiders and foreigners to come into your state. There's therefore been a challenge to have a delicate balance between promoting the state as a home of peace and tourism and letting people know that Plateau is ready for business. And I'm glad to let you know that despite our difficulties, despite our challenges, the people of Nigeria and foreigners still believe in us. Our approval rating to outsiders keeps rising. And that is why today, the room occupation rate in the hotels on the plateau perhaps is one of the highest in northern Nigeria outside Abuja. People are coming. Last week, I was in Lagos to market Plateau State at an investment forum, and I found that a lot of the information that people have about Plateau thinking it is insecure is about the scaremongering that we ourselves promote. And when I had the conversation with many of those businessmen, I can tell you many good things are on the way. As I'm talking to you, there is a multi-billionaire who wants to set up a tin refinery on the plateau. Monday this week, by the grace of God, we are laying the foundation for the new modern abattoir. And that is not just the good news. A foreign national after my presentation in Lagos, said to me, "Governor, I want to buy all your meat." This is exciting, isn't it? I want to appeal to us as a people. Let's not be the ones that say, there is poison in your father's house. There is no wisdom in it. While we will continue to document the attacks, while we will continue to pursue the attackers, while we will continue to look for ways and means of preventing future occurrences, we must approach this with an attitude of hope that no matter what they do against us, we'll remain who we are, a resilient people, a people that believe in themselves, a people who know the value of unity and hard work. Nobody can describe a Plateau man as lazy, and especially our women. They have been the backbone of our economy. Let's make people believe in us more. The more they come, the more resources will flow in. Every country that developed harnessed its own local resources, but it also depended on foreign direct investments. And I see a lot of those investments coming to us on the plateau by the grace of God. When we assumed office in May 2023, one of the institutions that was lying on its knees or on its back was the civil service. When I took over, I remember that part of February salary had been paid. March, April, and May were outstanding, totaling over 11 billion. And when I checked all the accounts of the state, the only money we could access was 1.1 billion. And to make it worse, we had actually exhausted our borrowing threshold as far as the debt management office was concerned. But because you trusted me and invested me with confidence and trust, I approached one of the bankers and he said to me, because of you, we will bend the rules. And they gave us a facility of 15 billion naira without hesitation. This was what we used to clear the backlog of salaries, and ever since, we have never failed to pay salaries on the plateau. By the grace of God, let me assure our workers that even if Abuja does not send us money, we have one man in reserve that you don't need to worry. So we've cleared the backlog of salaries. It is gratifying to note that we have also made giant strides in clearing the backlog of gratuities and pensions and making sure that our pension payments are up to date. In one other forum, I had said we had paid over 16 billion in pensions and gratuities. But the latest report I'm having from the Accountant General shows that we have far exceeded that amount at the moment. We have done well over 20 billion in trying to clear those pensions and gratuities. And by the grace of God, we'll continue to do so. The interesting thing about the payment of gratuities was that when we took over, it was being done haphazardly. And a lot of corruption was introduced into the system. But we stopped that practice. And we made sure that we developed a timetable for payment. And whenever it was your turn, you can be sure that you will get your money intact without paying any bribe. And I'm glad that we have received many, many commendations from the beneficiaries, because everything in that space is being automated at the moment. We have gone ahead to do a lot of reforms within the civil service. We have also, to some extent, made sure that appointment of permanent secretaries, for example, is done on merit and not who you know. And I'm glad that many of the permanent secretaries that have come into that space, that they came in without knowing me, in fact, is a deficit if you lobby me for appointment as permanent secretary. It may count against you, but make sure you are qualified. We have gone on to organize trainings and workshops, and I'm glad that many of our civil servants today have attended both local and international workshops and seminars. And one thing I discovered is that among our civil servants are very intelligent, diligent, hardworking civil servants. But they were never given the opportunity. And I want to assure you that by God's grace, we'll continue to give you the enabling environment to flourish in the career you have chosen. In the area of economic development, we have trusted God to be able to transform the Plateau economy. One of the areas we found wanting conference. We were ashamed of ourselves when we got there. You know, we get a lot of seed from the Dutch. And even though they can farm once a year, and in fact once in 3 years, we discovered that they can do 40 tons per hectare. And in all the years we have labored to produce potatoes, the highest we have ever reached is 7 tons per hectare. The difference is embarrassing. Is it the soil? No. Is it the seed? No. It is the agronomy, the farming practice, and we are determined to correct that. We have decided to test run. We have begun the process of eliminating the whole garma on the plateau. And this year, we commissioned a plateau indigenous who is an innovator. He has been able to produce for us hand tillers, and we are test running about 200 pieces this farming season. That is good news to plateau innovators. We are there for you. When you show us a promise, we'll follow through with support. And by the grace of God, when these hand tillers succeed, we will move from 200 to 2,000. And we'll make sure that over the course of the next coming years, we eliminate the use of manual labor on the farm. And that is what will get our young people to become interested in agriculture. The other aspect of agriculture, broadly speaking, is livestock. And that excites me the more. The more I study the goodies that can come out of livestock, the more I see millionaires scattered all over Plateau. If you can keep 4 cows in your compound, assuming you meet the criteria we are going to roll out, and you are able to, presently, the cows that we are fighting on the plateau, the best they have ever given anybody is 2.5 liters of milk a day. If you go to Babale here, Alaji Laushi is keeping some cows, and the minimum he gets from them every day is 16 liters. If you get 16 liters per cow and you have just 2 of them, how many liters is that? 32 liters. Suppose you sell each liter for just 1,000. How much is that? Where are the mathematicians? 30. And if you do that for 7 days a week times 30 days a month, how much is that? Some people are salivating already. And that is what we are going to pursue. We have laid the foundation, and by the grace of God, we will take off very soon. That is why I told you we are doing a few things concurrently. While we are building the abattoir that may take us the next 1 year plus to finish, we are also trying to develop the cattle lots where the cows will go into the abattoir. But another lucrative business, which I saw some ignorant people laughing at us on the social media, that we want to grow grass for cows. If you don't know, keep quiet. What the cows eat is not ordinary grass. These are nutritious plants that have been scientifically developed. One of it I personally went to see with my 2 eyes in the farm of Honorable Yakubu Dogara in Abuja here. When you grow that plant, it's called jinkao. It was developed in China. It's almost like a mini sugar cane. You can grow it over 4 months. You can harvest it 4 times in a year, and the plant can last for more than 10 years. All you need is water. And in one month alone, the man had an order of over 80 million worth of that grass, what somebody would want to call grass. So let me let you know, zamanin cin masara ya wuce. There are other nutritious things we will eat all over the world. What they are eating is not just tuwo masara. Thank God today we have varieties. Even the potatoes we are having today, the PLATEAU potatoes, I hope you know it can turn into tuwo. I was amazed. We waste a lot of vegetables. I was shocked when I went out of this country and the PLATEAU woman gave me swallow. I said, which swallow is this? He said, it's made from cabbage. I said, how can cabbage become swallow? But this is the reality. And so there are more healthy things. And I can see a lot of promise in this direction. All I want you to do is to continue to trust us, give us your support and your cooperation. We are on the path to transforming PLATEAU. My prayer, my ambition, my hope, my expectation is that by the time we to our young people, especially on social media, there are things that cannot be denied. There are things that even the blind can see and even the deaf can hear. One area we particularly gave attention to is the improvement of road infrastructure across the state. And I can tell you with every air of confidence that there is an ongoing road construction in every local government of PLATEAU State. Of the inflows that we have had, road construction alone has taken well in excess of 140 billion of our inflows. We have nothing to hide. We keep publishing our accounts at the end of every year. I'm sure the accounts for 2025 have already been uploaded. You are entitled to ask questions. But let me just give you an idea. I think last month we got an inflow about 12 billion. Out of the 12 billion, 6.6 billion went into the payment of salaries and gratuities alone. And we operate what we call autonomy between the tiers of government, arms of government. So we have to give a portion of it to the House of Assembly. We have to give a portion of it to the judiciary. By the time you compute all those figures, already another 2 or more billion is gone. You have to deal with security. You have to fund education. You have to fund health care. And I can tell you, if not because of the sense of responsibility, if not because we are persuaded that we are running a government in trust for our people, we would not have bent backwards to look for ways of creative financial engineering in order to be able to push projects. And I thank God that the financial industry has invested us with some credibility, and they can afford to help us so that we keep going. Sometimes you have to borrow in order to push projects, and they will give you because they know that you will not default. If you lack that integrity, then they will not give you at all. Some states are not getting what we are getting in terms of that kind of support from the financial system. And it's because they have seen that you support us. They have seen that you have invested us with trust and confidence. And they too, they are ready to match it with trust and confidence. The financial industry thrives on integrity. And when you lack it, you will suffer a lot. So, in the health sector, we have done quite a lot. And I'm glad that today, that many of our health workers can testify that we have done a lot in that space. We have been able to improve significantly the status of Plateau State Specialist Hospital. And very soon, we are building capacity. We will soon declare it as a Plateau State Teaching Hospital. We're in that process. We have invested over $2 billion in setting up the lab there. We have also invested quite some substantial amounts of money in improving the general hospitals. We have also gone ahead with a lot of diplomacy. That is why today, the National Orthopedic Hospital for North Central Zone has been located in Jos. And we were able to facilitate its takeoff, even though it was masterminded by one of our responsible Plateau leaders in the National Assembly. The bill was sponsored by Honorable Idris Maje. It could not see the light of day until we came into office. Today that hospital is functional because we also supported it. Another one in Wase, what do we call it? Federal Medical Center in Wase. Not only has it taken off, but we're able to ensure that a lot of our people from Plateau State here got employed in that hospital. And I'm glad to announce to us again that through our diplomacy, our advocacy, that the federal government has taken over the General Hospital in Riom, the one you find on the Abuja Highway. It's going to become a national trauma center where in case of accidents and things like that, people can have access to Medicare. So we are moving. We are moving. We are hoping that we can be able to do more in that sector. As a matter of fact, we will soon roll out our plans for improvement, more improvement in that sector, because the issue of health care is critical to us. I'm just being informed that on health infrastructure alone, we have spent almost $5 billion. We have set up the Drug Supply Agency, which is one of the most efficient in the country. Is highly commended. As a matter of fact, the lab in Plateau Hospital is being identified by the World Health Organization as a training center for medical lab scientists. These are things that don't just happen, they happen because we invested. I'm glad if you check our investments in education, in healthcare, we have spent well over $15 billion in that sector. We have brought in, we have upgraded the profile of Plateau State University. We've upgraded the profile of Plateau State Polytechnic. We've upgraded the profile of College of Education, Gindri. That if God keeps us alive and we continue to generate revenue, I see College of Education, Gindri becoming Plateau State University of Education. I see Plateau Polytechnic becoming Plateau State University of Science and Technology. But we must work together. We must work together. Of course, our investments in transportation, I'm sure that both the blind and the deaf have patronized it. It's something you cannot deny, no matter how you love to criticize us. The exciting thing for me about the metro buses is that they deliver a monthly savings for those who patronize them of something in the region of 39,000 to 50,000, depending on the frequency of patronage. And because we dare to do it. Yes, the trains have not always functioned, but all the times they have functioned, they have been able to bring succor to the lives of our people. Presently, we are making strategic investments in youth development, and one of the areas of youth development is sports. I'm glad that virtually all the sports organs of the state, since we came on board, they are being funded. Many of our young people have gone for competitions that they never dreamt of for many years before we came in. Some, I was excited, I think it was Subet, primary school children of Plateau State went for a competition in China. And we are always ready to support youth development. We are making strenuous efforts to ensure that the Rongpam Stadium is completed before the next football season. And by the time it is completed, it's going to be CAF standard that will be able to attract national competitions back to Jos. For the Dadinkowa Youth Center, we are having conversations around it. We don't just want to go and paint a building. We want to improve it to the next level. And as usual, our strategy is to do a public-private partnership, which today is yielding us dividend in Plateau Hotel and Hill Station Hotel. I'm glad that several people who have gone around those hotels have come back to say, wow, something is happening. We haven't moved at the pace we wanted to move, but I'm sure in the next couple of months, there will be rooms for use in those two hotels, and many people remember those hotels with nostalgia. And by God's grace, we'll make sure that we deliver first-class hotel facilities on the plateau. A lot of the boutique hotels that are coming up, I'm told that they are very high standards. We want to let you know that if you want to invest on the plateau, there is an irreducible minimum standard we will not accept to go below. So we are also improving in that sector. In agriculture, we have also done a lot in terms of not only providing inputs of fertilizer and seeds. We have also tried to assist farmers with chemicals. And this year, I think by next week, God willing, the distribution of fertilizers for this year will begin in earnest. We've learned from past experiences. The first year we did it, we brought over 200 trucks. Some people collected our fertilizers, and we found them being sold in Bauchi, in Gombe, in Kaduna. They didn't use them here. We want to appeal to our people to make sure that those fertilizers. This year, because of the failure of pricing last year, and many farmers could not, I don't think there's any farmer that made profit on the plateau last year. We have decided to increase the quantity of fertilizers we are procuring this year. And I think we have procured about 500 trucks of fertilizer. We are going to make sure that farmers get it at a good discount. We are looking at all the other aspects of agriculture. We are trying to also look at the issue of water. Water is very key to life. We have started very strategic investments in this sector. It's a slow sector. You can't do fire brigade in developing water infrastructure. But I'm glad that we have, through some of the World Bank development projects, we are doing the biggest water investment at the moment in Langtang South, Langtang North, worth about 30 billion. We are improving the facilities at the Yakubu Gowon Dam, at the Liberty Dam. Then we are making strategic investments to provide people with water in the short term. We did one in Mado Village here, which I will soon commission. For 16 to 20 years, women around that Bukuru axis, around the Yelwa Club, they didn't have water. And the day I went to commission that water project, I saw the joy, the excitement. and painfully, one careless young man who didn't know what our mothers suffered said that that is a project that should have been left for local government. Now, I'm going to come to the issue of local government letter. It's one area that people have misunderstood so much, because I was a local government chairman. I know what happens at that level. But let me say this, that all that I'm saying here this afternoon is to give you snippets of the things that we have been doing. We've been doing in agriculture, in education, in healthcare, in infrastructure, and all the other social services that will make life better for our people. We have not been resting on our oars. In the security space, I know we have had several setbacks, but we continue to look for ways and means of improving the situation on a daily basis. This is a situation that was allowed to fester for over 30 years. And while I don't want to discourage you, I want you to know that these are not issues we will resolve overnight. We will continue to push backward the gains that these criminals have made. I can tell you that even in the last couple of days, some very important critical arrests have been made, and they are leading us into further information on the modus operandi of these criminal elements in our society. For us on the plateau, negotiating with criminals is not an option. It's not an option. We will trust God to rout them out of our borders. And I want to thank Mr. President. I can tell you that when the body language of the Commander-in-Chief is clear, the troops will follow. And I want to testify that in the last couple of months, Mr. President has been very clear that the time to tell these people enough is enough, that the time has come, and the time is when? It's now. We are going to ensure that we continue to work with the security agencies to make life easier for our people. Let me salute the Peace-Building Agency, the Interreligious Council, and all those platforms we've created to be able to nip crisis in the bud. And I can tell you, in the last 2 weeks alone, I know many attacks and reprisal attacks that we have been able to curtail in several communities. I won't mention them to you. But because of those engagements, community leaders were able to take responsibility and not allow their youths to become tools in the hands of these wicked people. I can go on, and we'll spend the whole day here, and it wouldn't make meaning, since this is a town hall meeting, for me to be doing all the talking. Yeah. I wouldn't do all the talking. I would like to give opportunity for participation. We have a panel of discussants who will discuss some of the issues that we've talked about. The issue of our road infrastructure is within the wider context of our urban renewal upgrade, so that we can be able to have a more presentable plateau that is easier to access for its people and also easier for visitors to come into our borders. So there are many things we have done, many things we are doing, and many things we'll continue to do. If you truly want accountability, I can tell you, walk into any of our ministries, any of our departments, any of our agencies, ask questions. If you genuinely want answers, they will give them to you. But like I said at the beginning, we have nothing to hide. We're here to serve you. For me, it's a commitment that I've made to God and to the people of Plateau State, that I will definitely leave Plateau State better than I met it. I therefore want to thank you sincerely for all your support, all your prayers, even your criticisms. Yes, genuine criticisms are welcome, because the governor does not know it all. And whenever people ask questions, I too turn around to ask questions from those responsible. When I don't get the answers that will benefit me, then definitely I take action. So I want you to know that your state is in good hands, that your state, by the grace of God, will continue to make sure that we make life better for the most of us. We can't do it for everybody. For our students, when we came in, we decided to reduce school fees in all our tertiary institutions by 50%. And we increased the scholarship, the allowances our students get by over 300%. We have facilitated the training of our young people. Over close to 200 of them now are abroad studying. We've been able to pay school fees for probably 30 to 40 people in the School of Aviation, not only locally but outside. We've been able to rescue many people from healthcare crisis that couldn't be attended to here. Many people that had kidney failure, liver failure. We had to come in as government to be able to assist them. We'll continue to do our utmost best to make sure that we deliver on the promises that we gave our people, the expectations that our people have towards us, pardon us. We will not disappoint you by the grace of God. So I want to thank you for turning up this afternoon, and I hope that, like they used to say in debates, I hope these introductory remarks are welcomed by all of you. Thank you and God bless.
Please keep clapping until the governor sits down. I think that was a very wonderful, motivating, encouraging, and inspiring speech from the governor. Indeed, Plateau is in safe hands. Thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Plateau State. Really appreciate that. We will be going to the next item on the agenda. As we were told earlier on, we have the Executive Director of Park Africa, and he is one of the heroes of the June 12th that we are all enjoying today. And he's also a board member of IAGA, and he's no other person than Chief Ezenwa Uwagu, who actually flew in from Lagos today just to be here. Please can we give him a mighty round of applause and welcome him to just properly. He will be whetting our appetite a little to talk about strengthening, unpacking the Governor's Democracy Day keynotes on strengthening democracy through inclusive governance and citizen participation.
Your Excellency, I thought that if you have this kind of governor, the kind of applause that I saw after that extempo, can we be uprising? Ladies and gentlemen, it has to be. Are you aware that there are governors that cannot speak extempo? Are you aware that even the one written for them, they can't pronounce it very well? Please put your hands again for this, His Excellency. Please sit down, please sit down. Thank you very much. When people talk about democracy, especially for people who were not involved in the tyranny of dictatorship that we suffered, they place a lot of emphasis, genuinely so, on infrastructure. But the most intrinsic value of democracy is freedom. And I thought that the governor was spot on when he said that the ability to stay in this hall and have a conversation is a dividend of democracy. And I thought that a lot of people didn't understand what he was saying. The military builds roads, they construct bridges, they build hospitals. Some of the finest, the most the biggest housing estate in West Africa was built by Abacha, Guadimpa. But what was then the missing link? The missing link is freedom. And I think we should celebrate freedom. And that is why it's important that I quickly get into the panel and engage in friendly fire. There is going to be friendly fire. The friendly fire is the one that you shoot, but it doesn't hurt. But it comes with power. Let me quickly invite my panel. And it will be my pleasure to start with the chair of the Nigerian Bar Association, Jos Branch, Leah Hassan. I'm only following the pattern of the governor. Everything he said, he gave big opportunity for women. I thought you should be clapping for her. Let me welcome the global president of the University of Jos Alumni Association, a civil society activist, Dr. Shamaki. Yeah, just leave the video. And then I have here a journalist and media practitioner, Okandi Ode. Please make welcome Chief Kokwe Silvanus Joseph, Association of Nigerian Artisans and Technicians. Please put your hands together for him. Let me welcome my friend, Madam Harun Audu, Marketing and Public Relations Consultant. Please put your hands together if he's come. I deliberately left this man that I'm going to call to be the last. Please put your hands together for Comrade Steve Aluko, Maradona. If you went to ABU in the late 80s to the 90s and you don't know Maradona, then you have a challenge. Sit down. Steve. Thank you. Leave the chair there. Your Excellency, with your kind permission, would go ahead with the conversation. Now, His Excellency did what I call the most extensive engagement with issues of governance that I haven't seen in a long time. By the way, His Excellency, congratulations on your pitching in Lagos. Your pitching on PLATEAU advantage was top-notch. You called yourself the chief marketer of PLATEAU. I think that nobody does it better than you. Please put your hands together for him again. Let me start with you, Madam Chair of the Nigerian Bar Association. What was your most important takeaway from what the governor said? And were there things that are of concern to you that you think were not spotlighted in this close to 1 hour engagement? Are there things that you think the governor should know that he has not been told within this opportunity? Because you represent the most conscious layer of society, the lawyers. Can you share your quick take just for 3 minutes, and then we move on from there? Thank you.
Thank you very much. His Excellency, dignitary here present, the panelists. When I was coming here this morning and invited for this town hall meeting, I was just going through my mind what
are some of the things that the governor or this government has achieved for these past 3 years. I know a few, but upon coming here this morning and I sat down there hearing the governor speaking on issues directly, issues, taking seriously, talking about security, education, talking about economy, empowerment of the states, the youth, and then especially talking about inclusion of women. Mr. Governor, I want to commend you this afternoon, sir. You're doing a good job on the plateau. Mostly for the women, the inclusion of the women in your governance. For me, that's one of the take home for me. Thinking for the women, even though you're talking about me speaking from the aspect of being a lawyer, I have seen the governor from his speech deliberately attacking issues as a lawyer that he is, and also a seasoned administrator and the governor concerning issues of including women in what do you call it now, in governance. Also, what's struck me more is the issue of agriculture. I know in my struggle as a lawyer for 21 years in issues of gender-based violence concerning women and the rest, that it is economy and poverty that is making violence to be on the increase. And for the government to have spoken to that issue of ensuring that Plateau State will be economically viable with the investment it's trying to bring. Well, I also watched his speech during the Lagos trade in Lagos too. I watched Mr. Governor. I was also impressed with the fact he's putting for Plateau to the forefront so that people will see what we have on the ground. For me, that is the take-home, because I feel if the economic viability of the state is, and the people in the state are empowered, most of these issues that are coming up will reduce to a very bare minimum. But what I wanted to hear more concerning women in the speech is or what's disturbing more is the issue of the recent democracy or political atmosphere concerning women representation in political atmosphere in terms of the primaries going on. Women that came out couldn't get positions, couldn't hook positions. For me, to my mind, I feel that women should be given opportunities too in these areas to be decision makers, to sit at the table, to be at the House of Assembly, to be at the House of Reps, to also speak. It was talking about including women. Yes, I agree, Governor, Mr. Governor, sir. You are including women, but we should also have women in these positions to speak for us too. We should be heard in these areas. For me, this is one of the things I feel we should move, we should push more, so that it will be an all-inclusive governance. So that when we speak as one voice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Maradona, Steve Aluko. The governor harped on the fact that he's been held more for what has not been done, but nobody talks about what has been achieved already. Do you think that is a function of not pushing out very strongly what has been done over what has not, or what people hold him, hold his leg to the fire against? And what recommendation will you put out? Because it's about solving problems. We are not just holding this town hall for criticism. We also want to be able for the governor to take away, and other government officials to take away recommendations from, citizens of Plateau.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, sir, and all other protocol duly observed. Moderator, I will disagree with you. The governor did say that he wants criticism as long as it's constructive. And I think it's from that sphere that we take it. Your Excellency, I did listen to the presentation. Top launch of it is 440 billion on infrastructure. The governor said it. Sir, with all due respect, much need to be seen. I've also observed the documentary on Arise yesterday, day before yesterday. And I've seen quantum of jobs that have been done in terms of scheme of governance, in terms of schemes of governance. But sir, we need to deploy this. You recall some time ago, I said something about crossing the Red Sea. The Red Sea wouldn't have become a better story today if it was not celebrated. Much as 140 billion have been expended, we need to begin to see in practical terms, which I've seen. As I was coming here today, I saw in Utah Road some work that have been done. We need to constructively put this before the people. We need to also get the beneficiary input or feedback from the people, so that when people are talking either on social media or elsewhere, the fact will speak for itself. I'm saying this, I'm happy that our commissioners are also here. You are not just appointed to attend meeting. After meeting, we should know the outcome of the meeting. Sir, with all due respect, you've appointed people in office either as advisor or as commissioner. So they need to do more. They shouldn't wait for people to ask questions. While the governor was speaking, he said, if you have genuine question, genuine answer will be given. But the template that we need on the plateau is that our commissioner, our appointees should speak to issue before it will become a reactionary one. If 140 billion has been expended, and we've seen road work going across all the local government, so it is not out of place to have this streamlined either on TV or radio. And you also talk about the tourism aspect. I love that aspect because that is the bedrock of the IGL that the governor promised he wants to improve upon. Some good work has been done at Hill Station and other places. But in measurable terms, we should also see in practical terms. We should not wait until when a project will be commissioned. While the project is on, if it's 20% done, 40%, 80% done, it should be seen. Because this will be part of the constructive engagement. So before he collects the mic from me, the last Supreme Court ruling, as against the last appeal court ruling about lack of having political structure, I've always said it that the political structure that the governor has is the people. So you must have a way of linking up directly with the people. You have said it here, and we did accept that. But beyond this, sir, I'm putting this before you in all humility, that our commissioners, our advisors need to bring this laudable imprint before the people. They shouldn't wait for people to ask questions. And I know we achieve better than this. As you cross the Red Sea, sir, finally, strong broom is needed. And what is the work of the strong broom? It does not spare where people need to be sanctioned, and where people need to be celebrated, people should be celebrated. We appreciate the work you are doing, and we love it. The last one, because I will not have the opportunity again. You did not speak much about the legal reform that you have brought on the plateau. I'm aware that you've done some level of legal reform on the plateau. We need to also speed up action in this area so that this law will be the basis on which we are going to constructively engage people, so that at the end of the day we will live on a truly constitutional democracy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Steve. Well, the difference between military rule and civilian democratic government is asking questions. If the military asks you to supply chairs, 1,000 chairs, they can bring 800. If you ask to count, they will say you are not desirable elements. But in democracy, you can ask to count. And after you have counted, you say, who supplied it? Are there conflict of interest issues? Dr. Shamaki, in the civic space, in the plateau environment, the demand side doesn't seem to be very active. And perhaps that's why the supply side is a bit laid back. is there real programs that can energize citizen-government relations more than we have seen? Because listening to the governor, you ask, where are the other people who are making noise all over the place without doing anything? And so much is being done in Kwara, in Plateau, and nobody knows it. What do you want to?
Well, thank you so much. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you for this opportunity. Steve and Luko have said a lot, and I told the line that we need to hear more people talking. On the plateau here, we have the OGP, which is the Open Government Partnership, that should have provided a platform for engagement between the citizen and the government. We need to engage that platform more. We need to make it more visible. We need to make it more acceptable to everybody. His Excellency was in Spain himself, where he represented Nigeria a while ago, and a couple of other people in government. And so we need to have that conversation at that level beyond what we are having at the state capital. The last time the governor was in communities when the crisis happened, the people were excited that they were not invited to the government house, but the governor went to them. We need to have this kind of conversation at the zonal level. We need to have this conversation through the local government chairman at the various local government. If the governor is leading by example, every other stakeholder and partner within the government need to join the queue and do the same. So he cannot be everywhere, but that is why you have commissioners, you have advisors, and you have local government chairmen. So the citizens need to hold them accountable. What are you doing with the allocation to your various local government? What are you doing with the resources given to you? And the governor said it very clearly that he's open to criticism, so we need to speak up and speak out in a constructive manner. The documentary that was aired 2 days ago on Arise, the question I ask Your Excellency is that having invested so much in Operation Rainbow, why am I not seeing people with a uniform on the street of Jos? Why are we not talking more about them? We're talking about state police. If we're going to have a state police finally, it's Operation Rainbow that is going to transit into state police. And so we need to feel more of those kind of impact of government in the way they are doing. The governor talked about youth engagement and the fact that we've invested so much on the youth. Your Excellencies, I may not have opportunity to see you every day, but I think the PYC chairman seated here need to be empowered to provide leadership for the youth on the plateau. I know that the young man has been trekking, and I think he deserves to have a car that will be able to make his office more functional, because we cannot have the #1 youth on the plateau that is supposed to represent government, and we're struggling to see his presentation and his presence. And so I think this is a passionate appeal on my part to Your Excellency concerning that. Lastly, the governor have invested so much in University of Jos. And I need to say this in both my capacity as a Josite and as the global president. Now for me, sir, what you've done is that University of Jos, as at today in Nigeria, have one of the highest number of foreign students. Beyond the foreign students that we have in University of Jos, in virtually every state of the Federation, there is a representative of the State University of Jos. There are no better ambassadors and spokespersons for the state than those students. And so when we are intentional about what we do in the state, the multiplier effect goes beyond the immediate. And so we must commend that effort to say you've done well in that direction, but more can be done. And I end by saying, sir, that for me the conversation we're having today is that democracy itself is not an end, it's a means. And therefore, both the government and the citizen have alternative paths, which is what we're engaging. And once we're able to engage that platform, the issue of insecurity, because we cannot talk about stability without addressing the issue of insecurity. And so let me say it clearly here, there are several people on the street of Jos that have expressed displeasure, even though you took the right decision on transiting from PDP to APC. But seated here, and several other people that have read the challenges around, you need to listen to him and give him opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Samaki. Because, and riding on what you just said, when people talk about June 12th, I've made the argument that Nigeria is involved in what I call spiritual embezzlement. It's spiritual embezzlement. We are involved in spiritual embezzlement because when we talk about a building, we give credit to the architect. But we never bother about the people who fetch the water, who mix the cement, and the carpenters and all other people who made that magnificent building possible. June 12th took the blood of young people. 162 people were murdered on top of third mainland, young people. As I'm sitting here, Maradona is sitting here, we were expelled. I was detained 11 times. I wrote exams from the prison. And when people come and celebrate, they celebrate the people who just were drinking tea. Like we had people who went to London to negotiate Nigerian independence, not talking about the people who were murdered for the independence that we enjoy. So sir, I'm adding my voice to Dr. Shamaki that the youth on Plateau will have to be given better and bigger opportunities to shine. I know you are already doing that. I know you have a lot of women and vulnerable people in your government, but please continue to do that. But Malam Harun Aldu, I know you are big on environment. I listened carefully to the governor. Driving around Plateau, especially Jos, do you think that the governor has paid a lot of attention to the cleanliness of the city the way it should?
So my straightaway answer is no, he hasn't. And before I give my elaboration on that, I want to tell you, Excellency, I took notes. I noted about 20 things out of your presentation, but I wasn't sure what the question was going to be. And I'm glad that you have reduced it to the issue of environment. And I think a better conversation would be about urban renewal, or if you like, urban governance. I have always argued that if we look at what Plateau is today, it is because of investments that were deliberately and intentionally done by the forebears. So I call them the fathers of modern Plateau. One of them that stands out is blessed memory Commissioner of Police Joseph Gomwok. I am a certified settler, sir, and but I was born here. And I saw what J.D. Gomwok did. I came out of age when the city of Jos was being planned, and was being planned very deliberately. There was a deliberateness in not just environmental sanitation, but also in terms of planning, development control planning. Your Excellency, we saw what the military did thereafter. But from 1999 till date, the issue of urban governance has more or less degenerated, Your Excellency. With due respect, you inherited some of it. His Majesty the Gongong is unavoidably absent. GIZ appointed us consultants to do an event around urban development, housing, and the rest of them. And I got the Gongong to bring along every traditional institution to that event at Just Business School. And the argument that we made was that until there is a deliberateness and a synergy between the key agents that drive urban development, we will continue to watch our city go to waste. Today, as we speak, sir, between your Ministry of Environment and the Jos Metropolitan Development Board and the Plateau State Environmental Sanitation and Protection Agency and other associated agencies in that space, there is no relationship. They appear to be acting at loggerheads. They appear to be operating in silos. I told my young friend Sam Dapia, who, by the way, just so you know, he's a member of EQUA, so I'm proud to celebrate him as a member of EQUA. I told him in church that the monthly sanitation exercise has become a waste of time. There is need to declare an emergency. Mr. Governor, the city of Jos is dead, and that's why I started by asking your question with the fact that, no, Mr. Governor, you need to go out and see. I take 8-kilometer walks every day in neighborhoods that...
I want you to quickly tell me two things that need to happen.
Two things that need to happen. The synergy I mentioned. One, I don't see the synergy between these agencies, number one. Number two, the infrastructure for it is absent. I don't know if Babajang is here. I think the last huge investment that was done in terms of environment in Jos, as far as the urban governance is concerned, was by Governor Jan. Mr. Governor, we're going to talk tourism from here till Jesus returns. But if we don't take steps to make the environment really conducive, they will come, smell our gutters, and swear they're not coming back again. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Harold Naidu. I was invited to an event, and I was speaking passionately about how the NDDC constructed road around that environment and all of that. And a young man asked me, he said, this road you are talking about, it is for you people that have car. Everything you said here now, how does it affect me? And we have here the most, for me, important people in this conversation, the artisans. The artisans. You have opportunity to see the governor face to face here. It may be difficult. Please tell him everything you want to tell him in 3 minutes.
Permit me to respectfully sit on the already established protocol. I am privileged to speak on behalf of the engine room of the local economy, the engine room of the national economy, the engine room of the global economy, which is Association of Nigerian Artisans and Technicians, which comprises of carpenters, plumbers, electricians, mechanics, hairdressers, IT practitioners, those in the agro businesses. And so this afternoon, I'm here not just to speak for myself, but I'm here to speak to our leader, who is representing the office of the citizen. Seated in this whole hall, we have not less than 50 artisans in this hall. And for show of availability, please, Asnat, can you stand up? Asnat? Nata? Please, you can have your seats. I want to start by apologizing. We're given an invitation for them to come, but because of the activities, I will tell you that more than 30 or 40 are out there. And I want to plead through this platform, please, if we can be given an opportunity to interact with you, either through X or maybe physical engagement, we'll be more than delighted because of the time. I want to say something, sir. You make mentions of investment that has been done in Plateau State. And I started by saying that the artisans are the engine room of every economy. And democracy is basically about development. And for the development to thrive, I want to say that the artisan should be given an opportunity. You did mention about giving access or opportunities to investors to come in and invest in the state. I want to say this, if we, the artisan in Plateau State, are not building and contributing to the local economy of the state cannot be able to stand and cannot attract global investment. And so, I want to plead that as part of your developmental strive in the state, we, the artisans in Plateau State, we are the employers of laborers. Even in the IGR, we contribute so much
What do you want?
to the IGR of the state. And so in that regards, we want to plead, if given an opportunity, let's have an opportunity where a land should be given, for example, possibly to mechanics, for them to be able to build, so that they will be able to have workshops, because most of these mechanics or these artisans are living in rented apartments, and this everyday increment in the rent, they can't accommodate it. And I will tell you, if they are being empowered, that will help the local artisan for them to be able to work, for these brains to be exported. You were in Lagos, Your Excellency, and it was Invest Lagos. I want us to have a situation whereby we should also have Invest in PLATEAU. And for us to be able to have Invest in PLATEAU, the local artisans must be empowered locally. And part of the empowerment we want to request from you. One, from ICT. I'm an IT specialist. I want PITA to be revitalized. I want the Ministry of Science and Technology to also to be revitalized. I want the PLATEAU State relevant technology to also to be revitalized. I want the PYC to be revitalized through the youth center cut across the 3 senatorial zones. And some of us that we are within the state, I want to give you an open check, Mr. Governor. With due respect, if given the opportunity to win the private sectors, that I am speaking on their behalf, we need not the government to give us any money, but all we need is for the government to be able to give us a partnership where we can be able to invest our resources in the critical infrastructures.
Thank you very much.
Lying on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Because this is participatory, I will take 2 questions. I'm coming. I'm in charge. I'm a dictator here. I want the governor to feel. Let him feel this August gathering in June. Please, if you want to ask a question, please just raise up your hand and come forward and make your contribution or ask a question. I'm not seeing hands. Okay, can I give a woman opportunity quickly? Please come. Introduce yourself. No thank you, no pleasantries.
Ise Kadmoa Samuel is my name. Standing in for Stand Up for Women Society. I am their secretary. Your Excellency, sir, many a times you discover that entrepreneurs are being sent off the streets, but no alternative place for them to go. I discovered that our young men are really going out of the market because they do not have alternative place to go. What can you do about those people? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, come. Introduce yourself.
Your Excellency, in a sense, I'm an insider in the government because...
Sorry, can you speak louder? But if you're an insider in the government, give
Wait. We want to commend many things we've heard about agriculture and security in particular. In fact, you've spoken very specifically in many ways. We need to be comparatively competitive. And so balancing between rural transformation as well and the issue of the city of Jos. We want to compare with neighboring cities. And I know, Your Excellency, I think it's the speaker that is not okay. About the city of Jos compared, for example, to Bauchi. Okay. And we are speaking of issues in plateau, and some have been abandoned for very long. I think you have made a promise on this, and the public needs to be assured and to know that they are receiving attention. Example, flyover at Marabanjama, flyover at Naraguta, then there was a collapsed school at Busabiji. Miners have taken over the site which had been seized, as well as the Sheraton Hotel complex in Laminga. So I thought this should come up and remind you that these are words you have put in the public domain.
Thank you very much. Now, you are a journalist and a PR consultant. You also have your ear on the ground.
Okay, give a vote of thanks.
No, you don't. We are still going to take two more from the audience, so you can sit down.
Okay.
But I want you to engage in the things that are not said. The governor has advisors, he has commissioners, he has a plethora of people who work with him. But you are closer to the citizens in terms of what is going on. What do you think is the most and the overaching concern of the citizens of Plateau at this time? And what will be your suggestion to the governor in dealing with these issues?
All right, you're giving me terms of reference, so I will deal within it. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. The concern among people out there is the enforcement of Executive Order 003 of 2024. It is not clear to a lot of people whether the order has been withdrawn. It somehow is not being enforced anymore. At the initial stage, we saw a lot of sanity came in because of the enforcement of that executive order. But now all those gains have not only vanished, we have returned to a situation that is almost worse than where we're coming from. The tricyclists now ply every route with no time regulation. Motorcyclists have returned to the heart of the town, even in terminals, all the way to Bukuru. They are everywhere. They operate throughout the night, especially in parts of Josa where nightlife appears to be flourishing. It's like citizens have engaged most of these commercial motorcyclists. They operate almost throughout the night. And most of these traders too, who had given some little bit of space from the roadside, they have also returned. So the wonder is, what is the status of this executive order 003? Now the second thing, since it asked me as a journalist, you talked much about agricultural revolution. But you were less so when you talk of something like industrialization. I think there is a relationship. You also talked about one day the State University becoming University of Technology, that's the Polytechnic, and the Federal College, the College of Education becoming the Federal College of Education. I think we are talking about research and development, and there should be a relationship between that and industrialization. Whether you have a plan to the 17 local governments in Plateau State, whether you have an idea of which industry, before you leave in 2031, which industry you will bring to maybe Barrack and Ladi, Rio, Josa, or wherever. That is one. And two, you have this Federal College of Soil Science involved. And I think that's an advantage. My impression is that there are more crops that can thrive in Plateau than you have currently. I have one example, a cash crop like cocoa. Cocoa. Because where I come from, the nature of our soil is very similar to the soil in this Plateau North. So if they can do soil testing, you could confirm and maybe add something like cocoa or some other cash crop to what you are doing in Plateau so as to boost your agriculture, your determination to revolutionize agriculture on the plateau. But as I started, people are concerned about the status of Executive Order 003 of 2024. Where are we, sir? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, permit me to just take 2 other questions. You can respond, and please feel free to respond from anywhere you are. You don't need to come back and, if you want to even interact with them, you can go ahead and do so, sir. Now, Prince Meafe, and you come, yes.
Your Excellency, sir, my name is Collins Eze. I'm Director of Research, Planning and Documentation to the Executive Chairman of Jos Local Government Council. Your Excellency, rather than criticizing, I've chosen as the beneficiary of a training sponsored by Jos Local Government Council at IPES and along 40 other persons. The take home from there, I think, could help in your bid to revolutionize agricultural sector. Sir, the principle of climate smart agriculture can really help here. It is not just about acquiring seedlings that are hybrid, but also in the process of the cultivation, planting, and also nurturing and harvesting. I think the component of the extension workers, which no longer is visible these days, is part of the reason why our agricultural sector is not really bubbling. So here is what I want to suggest, Your Excellency. Since you want to mechanize agricultural sector, the concept of mechanization will really not trickle down to the ordinary plateau man if we don't democratize it. When you drive alongside the Leon, you see people who farm, but they partition it to show that the farmland do not belong to one person. Why can't we have 10 farmers in one place giving access to tractor?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were in government. Don't give us another picture. Okay, and you use the floor for some other people.
Okay, just one more thing. No, question.
Thank you, I rule you off. Thank you. I still have the microphone to him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I want to plead condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of my information, please. And I also want to plead, I have a document here for the governor, please, which I will not be able to read it. I have a classified document for the governor. Permit me to give it.
No. Give it to him. Give it to the commissioner or Mali. Give it to any of them.
Can somebody present?
Thank you very much. He will give it to him. Give it to Omale.
Let me just say something.
Give it to Omale. Thank you.
No, this is my own.
Thank you. Now give it to him.
I've given him.
Okay, that's all. That's what you want to pass to the governor.
Yes.
And it's classified.
It's classified.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, sir. Your Excellency, sir, mine is just simple. As an ambassador for he for she, Your Excellency, what further assurances do we have that we'll have much more women participation in your governance now and beyond 2027? Because I can see most of them clamoring for that, more women participation in governance. The second is, seen here, you see that we have mostly youth seated here and participating in this town hall meeting. Let's get more assurances of your continued support now and beyond 2027. As God's willing, we will re-elect you massively. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, His Excellency, please. The floor is yours. Okay, you can. Okay. Okay. So let us leave. Let us. No, we are not leaving. We'll give our last.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello? Maybe let me use my executive powers. I will give opportunity to 2 women who want to ask questions.
I wish you can move around.
Okay, do that. Yes, come over. is the second woman? Oh, okay. Go on.
Good evening, Your Excellency. I must really commend your government because I think in your government we've seen a lot of things that women are doing and women are speaking up. But as a mother, my name is Vivian Ebera-Abara, the State Coordinator for NACTAL, Network Against Child Trafficking, Abuse and Labor. And there's something we've noticed on the streets. Bikes cover their faces. Then even security operatives, they still wear masks. And we know that there's a lot of security issue in the state. So I beg with your good office, maybe you should give out an executive order because a policeman cannot stop you putting on a mask. You don't know who he is. And you see even the people that are meant to protect us, they are wearing masks. So let's really know the people we are dealing with. And then also, I would beg your government, if children are seen on the streets during school hours, they should arrest their parents because a lot of children are out on the street. And these children, they belong to the school. And then the third one is, sir, please, I am pleading. The drug use and abuse and substance abuse in this state is too much. We need a rehabilitation center. And for girls, the drug law they have was for men. There is none for women. So please prioritize it. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, sir, the last time the journalist on the plateau, okay, sorry, my name is veteran Christy Z. I work with the Plateau Publishing Corporation, sir. The last time you had a media parley with the journalists on the plateau at the government house Little Review, I did advise concerning the 3 bridges built on the plateau by the previous government. They should be barricaded. But up till now, the bridges are still left open. And those large vehicles, the trailers passing on it can destroy those bridges. The one I saw at the Secretariat Junction that has been barricaded, that barricade is not, it can't stop those trailers from moving. The trailers are still plying the bridges. Please, Your Excellency, I want you to do something about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I truly appreciate this feedback that we are having. Let me start from the last two. The issue of bridges and barricading them is a technical issue that we'll leave it for the technical people to deal with. What you saw at Secretariat Junction was not a barricade per se. It was actually erected during the New Year Christmas celebrations, and it had to be taken down. But bridges normally are designed with what you call a dead weight. They know the kind of vehicles that will move there and will not destroy it. There are quite a lot of issues around there, but I'm sure the technical people are dealing with that. The issue of children roaming about the streets is something that we need to handle with care. It's not as straightforward as you are talking. I am an advocate among even my colleagues, northern governors, that we must face the issue of Almajiri squarely. We cannot continue to pretend that the economy around the Almajiri system cannot be sustained. We need to get rid of it. But you can't handle it alone. It has to be a collective effort. Now, what we need to do, therefore, is more of education, more of enlightenment. Even with the issue of the molesting of the children, the girl child, the trafficking in the girl child, we are doing a lot in that space. But we didn't know the magnitude of the problem until we came in. It's huge. But we've been doing our best. The Ministry of Women Affairs, the Gender Equality Commission, they've been doing a lot in that space, I can assure you. As to how to bring in permanent solutions, we are discussing. But again, I believe that when it comes to drug rehabilitation you mentioned, I'm one of those who doesn't believe that government is the best to handle that. Because the way government functions, it is not born out of empathy. It's not, the civil service structure does not have the empathy to sustain that kind of mission. So I'll try to encourage the faith-based organizations, civil society organizations, come up with those structures, and the government will support you, because you are doing it out of a burden, out of a passion. But that is not to say that we are not going to deal with the issue of drugs. We are very soon we'll roll out our plans on how to deal with the economy of drug supply. We are looking at it from the supply end. We want to tackle it from that end. And I assure you that we'll do something about it very soon. The issue of women in politics somebody raised is something that we will continue to have a conversation around it. If wishes were horses, certainly the 30% for women. But you know, the women need to also come up with new strategies to help us appeal to the men, to allow the women to have their say. The women know that I will always advocate for them, not only because they are women, but I have found amongst the women very competent, intelligent, hardworking people, and I believe they have a lot to offer. Let me thank the panelists very sincerely for those constructive observations. Somebody mentioned the issue of flyover. I think, okay, Professor Matawal. Let me say this, that by the time the construction of the Akwanga to Jos Road takes place, the Maraban Jama roundabout will take a new shape. It's part of that development. So we don't need to flog ourselves on that. That of the Bauchi Road Junction is something we'll need to look at in our developmental plans. Now, let me mention quickly the issue of urban renewal versus rural development. Even though we are doing quite a lot of roads within the city, that is why we deliberately decided to also reach out to all the local governments so that we are sure that they have access. Now, most of the developmental partnership projects are in rural areas, under RAM, under Akrisal, under potato value chain. Virtually all those roads, NGKs, they are in the rural areas, and it's deliberately so that we can have more access from those ends. But the new Greater Jos Master Plan, which was actually put into operation, designed in 2014, I believe, expired in 2024. But last year we began a review of that Greater Jos Master Plan, which will address what Barrister Harun talked about. Because you can't do urban renewal haphazardly. There has to be a plan around it. Now, part of the thing is that when you have allowed a situation to persist for too long, it becomes chaotic, very, very expensive. I'll give you a typical example. The road from Zarmaganda to Rayfield, you know, by the traffic rate at this point in time, it would have been good to dualize that road. But the amount of money you will pay for demolition, you have to look at the cost benefit. These are the kind of issues we are looking at. But let me say thank you for pointing out, maybe we slacked on the issue of environmental cleanliness. But if you remember where we took off from, it was terrible. That was why in my inaugural speech, I declared a state of emergency on environmental cleanliness. We need to revamp the tempo, we need to reinvigorate the tempo, and we take that in absolute good faith. Even within the Greater Jos Master Plan, we are trying to also ensure that we extend those developmental plans to all the local governments. For now, we are doing pilot planning projects in 3 local governments, in Mangu, Riom, and Langtang North to be precise. Those are pilots at the local government level. Excuse me. So we hope we will put all these things together. Now, for the issues raised by the Nanta man, it's taken, and let me assure you, we're going to have a separate parley for the artisans. We're going to have that, where we'll be able to deal with the issue. But let me say this up front, that our policy as government is that there must be local content in everything we do. Everything we do, there must be local content. And I was surprised, sometimes there was a function here in which Ministry of Science and Tech, what was it again? Yes, Plastifest. And I came here in a suit sewn by a tailor here on the plateau. And to me it was exciting that you can get such a good product from somebody within the state. But when I read some comments on social media, I was discouraged. It says suit on the plateau, and so what? Sometimes it can be so demoralizing. You are trying to market what you thought is the industry that is local, and people are despising it. We organized a food festival the other day of plateau foods, and we've been trying to look at how to improve those sectors, bring them to global standards. I believe that whatever we do here, we can actually leapfrog from where we are. There's nothing like a just standard. It has to be a national standard. That's why for me, most of what we do here, we have to take our bearing from at least Lagos, if we cannot even go outside the country. Now, for a lot of these artisans, we are looking at the possibility, we are discussing the strategy of coming up with trade centers, trade villages. Whether it's for mining, you have a mining village, you have for different artisans. We are looking at that. That will come up in the master plan. You can't do it haphazardly. And so we will soon be engaging the public for comments on the master plan. But in the meantime, I appreciate the lack of synergy you mentioned about the ministry, the agencies of government. And one of the things we are doing, we are trying to rejig the GMDB. It's no longer going to be just Metropolitan Development Board. It's going to be a Plateau Metropolitan Development Board. We are doing a new law entirely so that PEPSA came out of GMDB. A lot of organizations have come out of GMDB, so we need to streamline its operations better. And to talk about legal reform, somebody mentioned, I think the House of Assembly, they will be getting scared now because we have nothing less than 50 legislations in the pipeline. When we are ready, your work will be cut out for you. So we are working on those issues. The issue of publicizing our projects is well taken. We must admit that we were a bit conservative on that. And so people do not know even half of what we have done. But we didn't just want to be commissioning incomplete projects. We thought we could push them to a point of completion. But we are having to rethink that so that people can understand that a lot has gone in using their money. We are not wasting their money at all. And so the issue of empowering women, Prince Matthew mentioned that, is something we'll keep looking at and fine-tuning. We would not, what they couldn't get through elections, they get through appointments. So we'll keep looking at those options. But we will continue also to democratize access to the election space for women as much as we can. The issue of cascading what we are doing this afternoon down to the local governments, while the local government chairman will be encouraged to take responsibility to go down. And let me say, another needless controversy has been coming up about local utilization of local government funds. If you know what is happening at the local government administration, you will know that the kind of money people are talking about does not exist. Truth be told, the contingent liability on local government funds by law is not less than 19.5%. The day they begin to pay out that 19.5%, they will collapse. But salaries for teachers, salaries for health workers, salaries for local government staff, already 60% of the money is gone. It's gone. It's because the state takes away some of the responsibilities. Like, if you want to talk about contributions for primary school infrastructure, if the local governments face it, they will not survive. That's why the state takes responsibility to pay for counterpart funding to UBEC to get money for the infrastructure development of primary schools. The same with primary health care. If the state does not pay the counterpart funds required to be able to access funds for the development of primary health care facilities, the local governments cannot handle it. Now, but does that mean that local governments don't have any liberty to do anything? No, it's not true. They can do quite a lot. And I want to let you know that Plateau State local governments are some of the best funded local governments in the north today. And we are trying to push them to get value for the little they are putting. And I want to assure you that many of my local government chairmen are doing very well. Very soon, I will embark on a state tour, and you're going to see what they have done. And I'm sure many people will be shocked that they were able to accomplish the much they could. But nonetheless, we'll be more proactive in the dissemination of information rather than reacting. So we'll be having local town halls as we get along. And let me say this again about the Nanta people and the local content. We have entered into MOUs with Bank of Industry and Bank of Agriculture, and we are going to be providing matching grants. At the end of the day, those funds are going to small, medium-scale enterprises. And when the framework is finally worked out, you will see those things roll out. It's not going to be your share of the national cake. It's going to be support for business. Support for business. So, somebody talked about agri-industrialization, maybe because we didn't have the time to give you the entire framework. What we are doing, the abattoir I told you will lay the foundation on Monday, is within a space that has already been identified as the special agro-processing zone. Our focus on agriculture is not about just production of raw crops. It's about industrialization. It's about adding value, value addition. If you cannot add value to what you produce, it's worthless. So we are working towards that. And very soon, Hypang axis is going to be, Hypang foreign axis is going to become the industrial heartbeat of Plateau State, where we're going to ensure that a lot of productive activities around the economy spring up there. So we are doing a lot in that space. Our policy on agriculture is not just about food production, it's about value addition, which comes through industrial processing. There's a lot people have talked about.
Excellency, sir.
Yes.
You would just take, because we are closing very soon,
yes.
we'll take online calls if they are still available. Samson, can you confirm that there are people online who...
Okay, while you are doing that, let me congratulate one of our own that was also given a national award today, General Temlong. He was among those who were given the national award today. We congratulate him, and we hope that more Plateau people will be given such awards. Of course, we don't need to tell you that many inmates were granted pardon on this day because of this special nature of this day. And I'm just been informed by Ministry of Women Affairs, where they have trained over 500 widows and vulnerable women in skills acquisition and empowered them with modern equipment and startup grants. And of course, there's another World Bank project which is going to train about 90,000 women in 6 local government areas. And we have paid the counterpart funding for that project to start. So many things are in the offing. Yes.
Okay, Your Excellency, we have a few callers. Those of you who are hoping to call us on 0064641536, they'll be itching to make their comments. And before we pass them on air, from Wasi, from Lantang, from Lagos, we have callers from Port Harcourt, Abuja, that we're seeing, and comments all over. This is coming from the Nigerian Medical Association, the chairman, Dr. Yoji Kamshir Kumtok. He says the economics and healthcare has over the years showed that private investment can easily be gotten to fund secondary and tertiary health services, leaving the sole burden of funding primary health services to either government or the mercy of development partners. We have Godwin from Lamingo. I hear he's on the line. Godwin, you're calling from Lamingo. You're listening on PRTV 90.5. Please, what's your question quickly? Godwin? All right, so, and the NMA chairman is saying, why has the contributory funding from local government or from the local government to the Plateau State Primary Health Care Agency remained largely unchanged from what was obtained several years ago, despite significant increases in the local government allocation? According to the NMA chairman, he says this is without prejudice to our acknowledgement of the fact that the governor, Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang-led administration, has paid incredible attention to welfare of doctors and health workers. Your Excellency, you note that why I take a second one very briefly. This is coming from Namforo Mafulu. It says it is evidentially clear. Okay, we have someone from Old Bukuru Park. Zira, good afternoon.
Zira from Old Bukuru Park.
Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please, I want to commend you for a very wonderful work that has been doing in our state. And I want to encourage you and then say that this town hall meeting that you are holding, honestly, is a very good thing. Because the people of the state need to know what is going on in their state. Because the state government is local. So by the time you come close to the people, really, honestly, the people speak alone. We all pray and hope that 2027 you will return safely and nothing can take your mandate from you.
All right.
We give you all the maximum support that you need.
Thank you very much.
We pray for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Excellency, while we wait for a few other callers to come from elsewhere, Namforo Mafulu says, it is evidentially clear that your administration has made exploits in reducing debt inherited from about 200 billion naira to less than 100 billion naira currently. Since we have many capital projects like Lamingo Hotel, Jos City Mall, Plateau Unity Market, he's saying, is it not right to utilize more borrowing opportunity to finance these capital projects since they have capacity to repay the loans? Your Excellency is smiling. I'm sure you're interested in that. 0064641536. Abel from Rokoba Road, please can we have your thoughts in just 20 seconds?
Please, Mr. Governor, please. I still want to know what have you been doing like really to make sure you see that the insecurity in Plateau State here is being cured, like, because we are really suffering a lot. Like, it's not funny. though it hasn't happened to me, but someday I feel like it might happen to my family member, a friend of mine, or someone. We're all human. So I feel things.
Sorry, it's not big here. It's not big
that you have been putting effort to make sure that, yes, you try to cut the insecurity in Plateau State.
Okay, sir. He's saying he's been in Plateau and there have been a few insecurity issues that he's not been a victim. But what can you do to reduce it? And I think you addressed it squarely and fundamentally in most of your comments, so that we'll not go over so much. Maybe you take one on borrowing very quickly, sir. Maybe you talk about a minute, Your Excellency.
Let me correct this perception again. I am a firm believer in the efficiency of the local government as the closest tier of government to the people. I believe it. Should we be talking about autonomy? Yes, we can. But it's going to become a process that we work towards. It's not a quick fix solution. You have to deal with the level of personnel at the local government level. You have to look at the issues of accountability. But let me tell you this, that if all the law requires local governments to finance, if it's fully implemented, it's going to become a problem. So at the moment, the law requires them to make a contribution to Plateau State University, to Operation Rainbow, to primary health care, and the rest of them. We only have to manage it from time to time to see how much of it they can release without they themselves collapsing. But we'll continue to look at other spaces that will allow them to meet those obligations in a higher capacity. Now, borrowing to finance capital projects. I told you, I believe borrowing is very legitimate. We have borrowed, we will still borrow, but we will need to put it in the proper places to be able to generate the